Welcome. My name is Jeff Zemsky. In this session, we'll be covering PTC Windchill's change management solution. For many companies today, they're still dealing with a series of challenges in the area of change management, which come from working with manual, Excel-based, or email-based processes for doing change management. This results in several challenges, including no consistent application of a change process, the inability to determine the impact of change across the product definition. That is, if I make a change to a mechanical design, does it affect electrical? Does it affect software? What's the impact on manufacturing? Further, it's then hard to determine who is the right person to be or right groups to be involved in that change. The enterprise then has poor visibility to the status and implementation of that change, as many of these processes follow a manual path, and leads to having manual paper copies and sign-offs to execute the process across the enterprise. The implications of these manual processes lead to a series of negative consequences and metrics that are impacted. This includes slow and inefficient change processes that have difficulty identifying and validating what data requires change, or if the right people have looked at that change. In addition, it adds many manual steps to keep downstream systems such as ERP and MES systems in sync with the work that's being done in engineering, manufacturing, and service. The results of this are a set of enterprise-wide metrics that can be impacted, including the amount of time changes remain open or leading to multiple changes to fix issues that were not caught in initial changes. Additionally, this also leads to higher scrap, reduced first pass yield, and higher rework rates, as the right types of impact are not checked during the change process. PTC's Windchill provides a change management solution that allows you to start looking in that in a different way. So from going from a manually managed and disconnected change process that results in higher rework and lower reuse, our goal is to deliver an automated change management process providing a holistic view of the data and enterprise-wide visibility and execution. The vision that's part of this change management solution includes the ability to scale change processes from fast and simple to robust and rigorous, to execute those changes, including planning, reviewing, and releasing the data across the enterprise with the right people involved, and improving the decision quality to assure the right decisions are made by making it easy to understand and access the data that's being changed. This is built upon the capabilities of having a set of tailorable change processes, giving you easy access to validate that data, and providing enterprise visibility and metrics. The key capabilities that are built on this change system include a set of pre-configured change objects and processes that deliver a set of out-of-the-box change management process that delivers a consistent, predictable, repeatable change process. It enables automatic routing of change tasks to everyone involved in the process, so the right person gets the right task at the right time, improving the efficiency of getting their work done. This then enables traceability into the changes by providing electronic signatures and audit trails to understand who made what decisions when during the process. This also enables automatic synchronization with manufacturing systems. So you can close the loop on your process by pushing this information to downstream tools such as ERP and MES. Business rules can be applied to the change process to ensure that the data in the change process conforms to various business processes and standards, also lowering the amount of time users have to spend time manually checking through that data. And then finally, there are capabilities to simplify execution of the change process with work that people are doing. So whether it's someone working on CAD designs or a bill of material, there are processes to help streamline the user getting their data into the change process and making sure the right updates are made. That out-of-the-box Windchill change process that I had mentioned in the previous slide starts with the ability to define a problem report, which is an optional step allowing you to identify an issue or opportunity and verify that before sending that on for change. You can also identify a deviation or waiver, which might be accepting a set of changes from an incoming supplier or approving a set of changes to something on the shop floor. Either of these processes can then drive into a change request process. The change request is used to do the technical and business justification for a change. And in a lightweight process, even this can be optional. This then leads to a change notice. The change notice then provides the plan of the work to be executed, and that can be broken down into one-to-many change tasks that include the work that's being done as well as the work that's being released, defining effectivity, revising and superseding data, doing mass changes on the data, and then applying the business rules to make sure your data is correct. Closing out your change tasks will then close out your change notice, will then close out your change request, and then allows you to close out your problem report. A key capability of this is that while this is provided as a template, it is also a good starting point for a company that might want to either further simplify or further add more rigor to their change process. And there are many ways to simply configure and tailor the change process to meet some specific corporate needs. FLOWSERVE is an example of a company who's done their digital product definition and global development product process through PTC Windchill. As part of that, they enabled the their engineering change process through the Windchill change management capability. This resulted in improved efficiency, volume, throughput, first pass yield, and on-time orders and on-time ECNs. So they saw both improved metrics for their products as well as their change process. Let's take a look at several different areas of Windchill change management and how they can improve on the scalable process, the ability to execute that process, and improve business decisions throughout the product development cycle. In this first example, we're going to create a change request. For this change request, I can pick a specific type. This is one I've configured as a new product introduction. I have added a set of attributes to this and added a layout that might help my users adopt it in understanding a look and feel and a form that they might be used to. This is very easy to tailor for your specific environment. Notice in this example we've grouped attributes as might make sense for your users. In the next step, we want to make sure we're getting the right data that is going to be on this change. And as you can see, we can easily get that data and then find related data, whether it's ECAD, MCAD, or other parts, and add that to our change process. This next step, we're going to be adding some simple attachments, and we can use a very efficient and fast HTML5 drag and drop to add that data right to our change. So now we're going to go ahead and submit this and get this change ready to go forward. As we can see here, I've also leveraged the simple attribute layout to show me the information in this view of the change, and on one page, all the information I need to understand what that change is available to me. In this next demonstration, we're going to take a look at some of the workflow tasks I might get to understand or process this change forward. In this one, I'm going to analyze my change request. This is leveraging our native task template capability, which allows me to put all the information I need to both understand as well as do work against the change right into my workflow task. So whether it's the attributes of the change, the work I need to do on this task itself, such as enter comments or select my decision, and then to see the information so I can actually understand and, if needed, do work on that change right from this environment without any additional navigation. So it makes it much simpler for users to get their work done. I can also use that capability to define additional people who might be working on this change. To set this up, it's a very simple configure process where an administrator can define what actions, what tables, as well as create or modify additional tabs. So again, this is one example of how through a very simple configuration process, the change management process can be tailored to meet your specific enterprise needs. In this last step, we're making sure that we're selecting the right items in our workflow. We're going to then move on to show a change notice, and one of the things we'll see in this change notice is how we can easily leverage a template to create a change notice that's driven by some of our business needs. So using this template, I've then predefined some of our attributes, which I can then continue to fill out. I have also used the template to predefine an implementation plan. So if I know a new product introduction change notice always needs these 3 tasks, the template can have them predefined, and it simplifies it, allowing me to just fill in data. I can also use some of that capability to configure different roles and resource pools to define what users are appropriate for those change tasks, simplifying who might be involved and making sure you get the right person involved in the process. This allows your users to easily and more rapidly create consistent changes without having to always recreate the data of their process. This next step we're going to show in the change is an example of how you can rapidly execute work within the change, starting with this example of doing a supersede. So I've got 2 bolts that were duplicate parts, so I want to get down to 1 part number. So first I'm going to identify the bolt I want to supersede with my other existing bolt. I want to improve my supply chain purchasing power. So I'm going to select that other existing part that I want to supersede this with. So I've gone and done this supersede. And then the next thing I want to do is I want to identify that that old bolt should be set to be obsolete so that the old bolt is no longer used. We only want to use that new one. The final thing I want to do is I want to make sure that I update all of my assemblies to use the bolt, the new bolt that's being replace the bolt that's being superseded. So I will use the mass change capability. In this case, we'll do a replace with existing part. We'll select the part that's being superseded. And we'll enter the superseding part. One of the key things to note here is we're not just updating part or BOM structure, but we're also going to update the resulting the related CAD structures. So imagine if this were a bolt I were updating in 200 assemblies. Now I can use this mass change capability and rapidly make these changes. So instead of having to manually go to all those assemblies, as we'll see in this next step, that the CAD assemblies as well as the BOMs have had the information updated on them, making it much faster and much more accurate to make these changes across my enterprise with fewer errors. In this final step, we're going to take a look at how we might validate and ensure our company's business rules are met. So in this example, I'm looking at the results of this change notice. I can see that I've had some business rules fail. So when we go in to look at those business rules, I'll see that a couple of things. There are some attributes, some part numbers, as well as some lifecycle states that were not met. And I can look at these by the rule or by the part that failed. I can then select on the part I would like to go fix. And one of the key things is going to open this in a separate window so I don't lose the context for that work that I was doing. I'm going to go ahead and fix this part number. I'm going to recheck my business rules then, and we'll see that last rule was fixed. And if need be, I can continue iterating through to complete that rule. And there's many ways that you can decide that you want to configure these business rules to make sure that your business process is followed without users having to manually all the time check that process. So we've just shown a couple of examples of how the change management process in Windchill delivers a scalable, repeatable process, making it easier for your users to have that consistent change management process to follow, while also delivering enterprise visibility. We've also looked at how you can use tools like business rules to help you make better decisions and ensure that various business processes are followed without lots of manual work. And then finally, we looked at some tools like supersede and mass change that make it very simple and effective to manage and do your change updates. Hopefully these demonstrations gave you a good idea of ways you can help improve your change management process at your company. And if you have additional questions, please navigate to this site on ptc.com or schedule a demo or speak to a product specialist. Thank you very much.